Here in Australia, by good luck and good management, we're in a much better situation. We are controlling the disease rather than having it the other way around, and we need to be extremely careful, of course, about letting go. That's why it's important to look at what's happening in the US and the UK. Similar first world countries struggling to get on top of the situation. People dying as a result. That's what we need to avoid here in this country. We all know that. But our luck is the fact that we are an island nation, and because we've closed our borders and we're controlling and quarantine everyone who comes in now, we ought to be able to free ourselves to some degree behind that barrier. No serious person would be urging a radical relaxing of rules, and we were reminded today how that's just not on the cards.
These restrictions in some form or another, as we've said for many times, are going to be in place for months and months. There's no possibility of large-scale relaxation in the short term.
OK, but this discussion needs to start somewhere. And that place should be some of the overdone social distancing rules being imposed right across this country in different ways. We've already seen Victoria back down on that silly ruling that couples couldn't get together. And have a look at this. I took these snaps yesterday when I saw mounted police in Sydney's Centennial Park. They twice went up to pairs of people sitting on the grass, telling them to move on. Walking was OK, stopping to sit on the grass was not. Now, this is over the top. It doesn't do anything to help fight infections, and it just builds up public resentment. Across New South Wales, there have been 225 fines handed out and 23 people charged over these rules across the weekend. No doubt some were warranted, but I worry about others. Apparently a man was fined for going fishing an hour from home, and another woman for mooning the light rail. Well, I don't know what that's got to do with the virus. Ought to be fined any time. In Victoria, over the past 24 hours, there have been more than 1,100 spot checks made of complaints about people gathering, 158 fines handed out, 6 bikies got together and were fined, and a number of private parties were broken up and fines imposed. Fair enough in those cases, I would have thought. In Queensland, 600 fines were levied, and one 27-year-old man was fined $1,300 for travelling from Cairns to Port Douglas for a Tinder date. Got to hope it was a hot date, worth the trouble. So we can see, long before we start talking about how we might be able to, say, reopen some restaurants under special conditions, or even pubs eventually, or get professional sport up and running, what we've got to do is ease back on some of this kind of clampdown. Yes,
there may be possible to have discussions about changing the balance between restrictive measures versus public health measures. If we had really, really good and extensive testing and screening and strong public health measures, it might be possible to revisit some of the restrictions.
Yep, we've got to be focused on this, eager, innovative and, of course, careful. We know we'll be labouring under some measures for many months to come, but behind secure borders, we've got to make our society and economy as normal as humanly possible. It'll save people's futures. So far, unfortunately, we're going in the other direction, with state governments pushing kids away from schools despite clear medical advice that says kids should be at school. Go figure.